Relationships get you the accounting job you want. A great way to build relationships with people who can get you hired is through the informal coffee date. In this video, I'll teach you why they're important and how to set one up. So you just crushed a networking event, and if you didn't, it's probably because you didn't watch my last video, so check that out first and then come back to this one. After the event, you excitingly go through all the business cards you collected like a stack of rare Pokemon cards. I'm sorry to break it to you, but those cards are nothing but pieces of fancy paper rectangles if you don't do anything with them. You need to use the valuable contact information they hold to build a relationship. What's a great way to build a relationship? Coffee dates. Now, to be clear, when I say a coffee date, it doesn't always have to mean talking over actual coffee. For the purposes of this video, a coffee date can be any planned one-on-one time with a company representative. You guys could be having tea, lunch, brunch, a crunch, whatever. Coffee dates are important, and here's why. As I mentioned earlier, a coffee date should be used to build a closer relationship with the recruiter and the company they work for. That relationship will increase your chances of getting hired because people are more likely to hire someone they already know and trust. During the application process, recruiters filter through all these resumes, so you want them to pick up yours and think, yeah, I actually know Alex. We had a great chat over coffee. He seems like a great person to work with. I think I'm going to give him an interview. And the coffee date doesn't even have to be with a recruiter. One-on-one time with anyone who works in the company can help you increase your chances of getting hired. Say you hit it off with a staff accountant at the firm. They may tell their senior, whose best friend happens to be responsible for hiring. At the very least, these coffee dates get you more insight into what it's like working for the company and what you'd expect once you get hired. This information can give you a slight advantage and lead to a better start to your career. Okay, so how the hell do you get one of these coffee dates? 1 or 2 days after the event, use the business cards you collected to email each person you talk to. This email should contain some key elements. First, let's discuss the subject line. Recruiters get hundreds of emails from applicants just like you, and the truth is, they don't read every single one. That's why to have them even consider opening up your email, you have to have a subject line that grabs their attention. It should be creative while also sparking their memory about you. The best way to do this is to relate the subject line to something you shared when you met them. For example, I'm sitting down, I'm trying to come up with my subject line. I think back to any funny or memorable conversations I had with the recruiter. I remember that we shared an interest in the same basketball team. Specifically, we discussed how our favorite team always received unfair calls from the referees, and even joked that they were doing it on purpose. So in my subject line, I would go with something like, proof the NBA is rigged. It stands out because it's a little controversial, but it's sure to be different than all the other emails he probably got that day. It also recalls the conversation we had the other night, so he already has an idea of who it's from. Now in the body of your email, it should contain 3 important parts. First, a reminder that you met them at the event. You can keep this simple and write something like, hey Greg, it was great meeting you at the event yesterday. Next, you should bring up something you guys talked about during the event. Here is where you can continue the joke you mentioned in the subject line. Going back to my previous example, I continue the joke by talking about how our favorite basketball team lost and reference back to something we talked about during the networking session. Finally, you end the email with an invitation to grab coffee. You can mention the specific reason why you want to talk. In this example, it's for a summer internship. Lastly, it's very important to suggest a time and place first, but to leave it open for them to reschedule in case they're busy. Make sure to proofread and go ahead and send that baby off. You may now continue with your life as a nervous wreck while you refresh your inbox every 3 seconds to check for a reply. 3 scenarios can happen. Number 1, you don't hear anything back. And look, it's not the end of the world. Do not take it personally. Maybe they're just really busy or you didn't make a strong enough impression when you first met them. However, it doesn't mean you lost your chance to join their firm. Wait a couple more days, send one more different email with a similar format, and if they still don't respond, just move on. The next scenario is you get a reply, but they can't meet up with you for whatever reason. Too busy with work, traveling, vacation, got fired, they just can't meet you for coffee. In that case, continue building rapport with them through email. Even though they can't meet you, they can introduce you to someone or pass your email address along to someone else in the company who can. This actually happened to me. The third and most ideal situation is that they agree to meet up with you. Nice, you're on your way. Just don't screw it up. How do you avoid screwing it up, and how do you turn that coffee date into a meeting that ultimately leads you into you getting an interview? Well, I'll tell you in my next video. So make sure to subscribe for more helpful content and career advice. If you have any questions or your own tips you want to share, leave me a comment and I'll make sure to get back to you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.